Hello, hello, hello. It is All Verse Thursday. It is October 22nd. Fall is in full effect. It's Thursday. I know some of y'all are already thinking about, watching the debate tonight. And so we're going to allow you some time to be able to get to that as well. For those that are joining us, that have just joined us, welcome to All Verse Thursdays. Now, let me tell you this. The Niyah Center is social enterprises that Naomi and I founded. Naomi was the founder, and I co-founded it with her. But it was her birth. The idea was birthed through her. And Niyah means intention and purpose, right? So the intention and purpose of the Niyah Center is all about supporting folks in living in their purpose, whether that means in educating, empowering, engaging, right? Supporting in whatever manner that looks like, organizations, individuals. And we do that through a variety of programs. And one of those programs is All Verse Thursdays. I'm your host. My name is Mark Christmas. I'm so excited tonight. We've got a really fantastic show. For those of you that are family rattlers in the house, went to Florida A&M, this is the FAMU homecoming weekend. Of course, nobody is there because it's been postponed. But shout out to FAMU, Florida A&M, the highest of 7 hills, and all HBCUs in general. As a matter of fact, anybody that went to college, shout out to you as well. And even those that didn't go to college, anybody that went to the College of Hard Knocks or School of Hard Knocks, shout out to you as well. So on this October 22nd, as I was walking a little bit earlier, I start to think about, what are we going to do tonight? What are we talking about tonight? We've got some guests. We've got a fantastic husband and wife couple, and I won't give it away exactly yet who they are. But one of them went to Florida A&M with me, and very well esteemed graduate. And he talks about this being a service to humanity, and what that means to be a service to humanity. And so we're going to entertain you today. We've got some awesome verses, right? We got some awesome poems, and we're going to have some great discussion around purpose. Now, we'll get you off right about 9 o'clock, so you can go ahead and watch, the debate, and we'd love to get your thoughts. But before we get into that, let me just tell you, for those that are the first time watching, how this works. The chat, use the chat. We love to hear from you. We want to know that you're here. We're talking to an audience, but we can't see you. So you use the chat to let us know. As a matter of fact, if you're in the chat, you're checking this out right now, if you voted, put up a 1, put it in a 1, or say I voted, right? If you didn't vote, say go vote. Go vote. Either I voted or go vote. And so let us know where you are. Let us know that you're here, that the chat is working for you. From time to time, we'll look to the comments to see if there's questions for our guests, right? Questions for me, or comments that we want to highlight that maybe add some value to the discussion and to the show. So welcome. We want you to be a part, join us, have some fun. Now, here's the other thing. You see, just scrolling across the bottom, if you aren't on Twitch, you may be watching us on Facebook or YouTube, and we're going to encourage you to make the switch to Twitch. And you can simply do that by going to twitch.tv/Niyah Center, NIYAHCENTER. It will ask you to enter a username, right? But a Niyah Center Twitch station allows you to have a little bit more fun. You can do things like give cheers, right? Bits, and you can subscribe to the channel. You can interact in a way that you aren't able to interact on some of the other platforms. Now, the other platforms still have chats and comments, and so you can do that, and we welcome that. But you can have a little bit more fun on Twitch. So if you haven't checked out Twitch, make the switch to Twitch. Plus, there's some awesome DJs over there doing some awesome music. Shout out to Vince Adams, DJ Vince Adams, another FAMU alumni. But before we get started, I like to open us up with a prayer and a verse. And so what I want to talk about tonight, the piece that I want to share tonight is called Let Me Be. Let me be. Let me be. Let me be love. Let me be light. Let me be wise. Let me be nice. Let me be steadfast. Let me be true. Let me be respect. Let me be obedient to you. Let me be favored. Let me be kind. Oh, let me be blessed. And let me peace find. Let me be faithful. Let me be life. Let me be free of misery and strife. Let me be me. Let me be thee. Please, Lord, let me be. That's that peace, y'all. And the scripture that comes to mind when I think about this is, who do you owe? And it says, render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor, owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. And that's Romans 13:7, verses 7 and verses 8. And I think that just really speaks to what we're going to talk about tonight, giving tribute to life, giving tribute to the process, the journey of how do we make a difference? How do we get involved? Giving tribute to the artistry that gives us an opportunity to contribute and to, most importantly, show love to one another and fulfilling that law, right? And so my prayer is, dear Lord, I come humbly to your throne of grace just to say thank you. I know through you all things are possible, and only because of you is anything possible. See, you promised me that you would open up the windows of heaven and pour me out a blessing such there would not be any room enough to receive it. I mean, like, all blessings more so than I can even receive. And so I'm doing the best that I can to please you, Lord. And I know you see me, and I need that blessing. I need that blessing right now, Lord. I need you in my life, and I'm calling on your name because you're my everything. And everything that I am and will be is because of you. So amen, and so it is. So with that being said, welcome to All Verse Thursdays. I'm really excited to have you all with me here tonight. And so let's go ahead and do this, right? I've got my man. I'm going to bring him in. He is a humanitarian. He is an author. He is a trainer. He's the husband and the father of 3. He is a world bridger, an honors graduate of Florida A&M, was also the student body president in 1996. He's a native son of Washington, D.C. And without further ado, let me bring my man, Zaccai Free.
All right.
Welcome, brother. Welcome. Yeah, welcome. Rattlers, if you're in the house, give us a strike, a rattler strike. Man, welcome. How you doing there?
I'm doing great, man. It's a wonderful evening. The prayer that you just gave and all of the positive energy just got me juiced up. Just one piece. I was actually the SJ president in 94 and 95. I'm one of the few who did 2 terms, and my second term I won it as a write-in. I think that's the only time in history that ever happened.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for correcting me on that. And yeah, because it's hard to get a write-in president. I know from experience because I ran on write-in. And my understanding is because we're not gonna get into that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't make history. Let's just say that I didn't make history for whatever reasons. We didn't make history, man. 2-term president. I should have known that, man. I should have did my homework a little bit better. You graduated in 96, though, right?
That's right. Yeah, okay. You know, my family was wondering why I was staying there so long, and I was mission driven, and I didn't really know till later on that's what I was doing. I was on a mission.
So speaking of that, because we want to get into your story, Ashley Wells, we see you. No, I'm saying Honey Hana. You know, Honey Hana, is that name familiar to you?
Oh, Hana, yeah, Hana.
Okay.
Is one of my great allies. She's the one that actually helped to pull me out of the ravages of alcoholism and mindlessness when I was a sophomore.
Okay.
He gets some big credit.
Okay.
For helping get me on track. Yeah,
well, we're going to have some fun telling your story tonight. We're telling your story. But before we jump into that, the folks come on here and Ashley Wells say she just shouted. Whoa. Okay, I heard you, Ashley. But come on, man, because people, we know you was the SGA president. Man, we're going to get into your story. You know, we know you went over into the jungles, literally went into the jungles, right, like in the movies, but you wasn't fighting no war in the way that we think about it, right? So we want to talk about that. But a lot of folks didn't know that you were also an artist.
Yes. Well, you know, I started out doing poetry probably like my freshman or sophomore year, they had this thing called a Revolutionary Poets Society. And I wasn't actually a member of the group, but I always went to the open mics and read. And then that led to me founding Thoughts Magazine, which was a magazine we had on campus, which was around poetry and prose and people being able to openly express themselves pre-internet, pre-social media. We had our zine that we distributed around the campus. So yeah, I've been writing for a long time.
Now, and the thoughts. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the brothers in hip hop, they were part of that with you.
You mean the Revolutionary Poets group?
Yeah, man, I should know the brothers that Dead Friends, right?
No, so Thoughts Magazine, Mark, you going to the history line. So we had a group called the 151 Crew, which was my DC crew. There's so many of them. I don't want to leave anybody out calling names, but Benz, a lot of guys. Anyway, we were all from DC. We had the 151 Crew, and you know what that was all about. We was into the 151, and then we evolved and became the Blunt Squad. And so the Blunt Squad was the kind of editorial group of Thoughts Magazine.
Okay.
And so we got together, and on a weekly basis in the beginning, we would just sit around in Kenny's house, come up with ideas, write stories. And we had Ali Muhammad, some other folks from the journalism department who borrowed some computers, and we put it together and made it happen.
Yeah, they say 151 Crew. We know what that is. Yes, we do evolve. So the piece that you're gonna share with us, man. Why don't you just go ahead and drop the piece? People, let us hear some of your verse, brother.
So I'm from DC, so this is an ode to that inner city experience. You know what I'm saying? So this piece right here is called "The Bus." I love the bus, the blackness of us, the poverty, working class mass, the funky working man's ass, uptight driver, let the stone brother pass, reminiscent of boxcars heading west, the slave ship packed with relatives until the journey brought barbarity. No family in slavery, the brutality, the best of us under all these crusted scars. 400 years worth of get back, turn inward. We roll on. Girl, you better stop lying to your grandmother. Where's she going? To get some D? The sweet funk of ghetto wings, smothered in mumbo sauce and hot sauce, fries with ketchup, overwhelms my stomach. Sick, we're all high. That's the bus.
That's that piece, y'all. That's that piece. Bring me back in, baby. That's that piece, yeah. Hey, man, the bus. I love this. Maureen said that journalism department is always good word. Yes, it is. Now, Zaccai, the bus. I love that. And you said, Grandma, where you going to get some D with the chicken wings, right?
You better stop lying to your grandma. You know how people be on the bus and they be on their phones, they talking to each other. There's a whole group thing happening. So the young girl is lying to her grandma about what I'm going to such a house. You know where you're going.
Right. Hey, and then you try to get some food to cover up where you've been.
Right.
When you come back in the house, right? Yeah, I know that move. I know that move.
Carry out.
So, hey, but you spoke on that, and so. And you wrote that piece years ago? Is that an older piece? Or?
Yeah. I used to write a lot more. Now I've been so much in the business and working with my wife's company, our family company. I'm not writing as much, but I used to write a lot. I used to do a lot of impromptu poetry and impromptu speeches. I used to do that at FAM as well. Just jump up and just do something. And I remember a few years ago, I guess it's probably like 2015, something like that. One of my last times doing that in public, I was on the bus in DC, and I was in Southeast, and DC is very rapidly gentrifying. For those who don't know, it used to be Chocolate City. Now I call it vanilla with sprinkles. And and so Southeast is still one of the blackest parts. So I looked around and I saw it was only us on the bus, and I got up. I did this piece called "It's Just Us on the Bus," and I can't remember everything I said, but it was really encouraging people to link up and not get lost in all the things that are happening. So, that's kind of my vibe. I write all the time. I do a lot of songs in my phone. I record stuff. So I'm always having multiple kind of artistic pieces that I'm working on. And my goal for this 2021 is to complete a lot of those things and bring them out into the world in a fresh way.
Awesome. I mean, super talented, brother. Ever since I've met you, man, I've always felt that spirit. Yeah, Michael Cork said he's always been brilliant. I agree. That's my experience of him.
Big up, Mike.
Yeah, and he's also a really fun guy. We might have to do one of them impromptu pieces a little bit later on. I'm gonna see how the spirit leads me, man. You put me on the spot, and I'm enough. So hey, right. So let's talk about. I mean, you said an interesting story around. You was the 151 crew, the Blunt crew. You talked about Honey Hana, who had a intervening role in your life, right? Went on to be the SGA president. Went on to then go to Belize and do some things around humanitarianism. So, give me a little bit of insight, because somebody might be listening and maybe we have a child that's finding themselves, or were you always finding yourself, or was each stage necessary?
Every step in the journey is necessary. You know, I did have a good foundation. My father, who's an ancestor, Bishop Louis T. Tate Sr., was an incredible dad and mentor. He was a pastor there in D.C. My mom, Ann Tate, who's still living, thank God. She's an awesome human being, big heart. And I had so many kind of varied experiences, you know, growing up in the Black community in D.C., being a preacher's kid. Then I went to a predominantly white prep school. So I had to go through these different worlds of like working class Black folks to wealthy white folks from the 2nd grade through the 12th grade. And, you know, in that time period it's just all kind of strange things were happening, trying to find myself. I moved to Hawaii for a year when I was in the 9th grade on my own, and was there with some evangelical Christian racist people. You know, listen, it's so funny, man. They want some bad.
Hold on. You can't just drop that in the story. You moved to Hawaii on your own. All right, we'll come back to that. Go ahead, man. With the evangelical, racist evangelicals. Go ahead.
Racist evangelicals, man. I didn't last very long, but it was a great experience, you know. And so, you know, by the time I got to FAM, you know, I had my dreadlocks come out the top of my head. Dr. Humphreys had recruited me to be one of those merit scholarship people, and I was headed to SBI. And I was sitting in, I think it's called a forum or something that they had there at SBI. And at the end of the thing, you know, I had my suit on and stuff. They pulled me to the side and it was like, man, you can't have no haircut like that. You got to cut that. You can't do that up in here. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you know, this is not, you know, something. I said, well, listen, man, I'm not interested in working for no corporation. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm looking to do stuff for my community. I don't want to work for no white folks. That's not my goal. And they were like, well, this is the program. And either you go in next week when we see you, or whenever the next forum was at,
right.
You're gonna jump into that, or you're gonna you know, be out of here. So
I hear a little bit of feedback. You guys, you have a volume turned up on something else?
I just turned it off. Hopefully it's gone now.
Okay, yeah, it's gone.
So I left SBI and went into I said, well, let me just, while I'm here, let me just go into what I might be interested in. Like let me do something different. So I did history and political science, and my whole life just kind of, you know, went from there. For parents and people who are worried about their kids, man, you just gotta love on them and stay in communication with them. You know, that's my main thing. My parents, they always gave me room to be myself. I just kind of I know that prayer works, man, because I was real lost there. That's freshman year. Mark, I was drinking so much. Golly, freshman and sophomore.
But man, I couldn't wait to get to college because I wanted to be able to get high, man. I remember like planning that all the way through, and you know, just telling on myself, man. I was so enthralled with wanting to get high, like smoke weed, but I couldn't get away with it in high school, and I didn't know how to get it when I first got to FAM. And so, you remember Kinko's?
Yeah.
The copy store, and so they had the bags, and so we had got some tea, and I was rolling little fake joints up in tea. For the tea in the Kinko's bag, acting like it was smoking weed, man. I mean, that's just the kind of fool. But you know what? To your point, prayer does work, because I think as a parent, you got to trust. If I put in the foundation, just like we talk about, you build a house, you put that foundation in. Nobody sees the foundation, but that house is going to be solid. It may sway a little bit, so storms may come, you know. And fortunately, I didn't make any decisions that I couldn't really fully recover from. Like, we still here. We talking 40, 30 years later. So even though we may have some scars and some bruises, we're here, right? And so you hope that that's what your kids would be able to do as well.
Yeah. My pop's advice, Mark, was don't let anything get you so high that you don't have at least 1 foot on the ground.
Woo.
He had a lot of good stuff like that. So that kind of helped me to navigate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when he said that kind of stuff, like, okay, you got to know your limits. Don't get too far out there. You know, you can't come back.
So then you went on to be SCA president, right? And so, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, that's a whole political process. And so for a brother that's like, I don't really want to deal with this, how do you get into student government?
So really, from my first landing at the university, I was an activist because we had to stand in those long lines in the hot Florida sun to register and do all these things. And I didn't understand that. I'm coming from a white prep school background, so I'm used to things kind of being in order. So like the first day in that line, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this? So I started a petition right away, man. I was going up and down the line, getting people's signatures like, this is crazy. Sign this paper right here, we're gonna do something. That was my first move. Like, man, I always came in with the idea that I'm a paying customer and I should be treated that way. Now, the administration didn't look at it like that, and but that was my position. And so I started with that. And then I realized the students didn't have a voice. I tried to write for the school paper, but they wouldn't allow me because I wasn't a journalism student. There was so many closed doors. I was like, I got a journalism student to write and get my ideas out. And they were like, yeah. I said, well, okay, forget that. Started my own magazine. And the magazine was more popular than any of the FAMUs that ever came out. So we were selling, thousands of copies of that magazine every week, to the point where, the professors was reading, everybody was into it. And at a certain point, because we were so critical of the systems that were in place, they tried to kick me out of school. And so they first tried to ban the magazine, then they tried to expel me. So I had to go get a lawyer. I got the ACLU. And Hana was there the whole time.
Okay.
He was meditating. We was doing 40-day fast, 40-day water fast.
You went full Gandhi on them.
Yes. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what to do. That spiritual energy hit them, Mark. They had never seen it like that before. You know what I'm saying? Because it isn't the same as, no disrespect to the reverend, but it's a little bit different when you're on that meditation and you're on that straight water and you chanting every day and you catching the sunrise and doing Tai Chi. Man, that prana is so high, it's like you just beaming. And so they couldn't stop it. And then some students asked me to run for student government, and I did. And I was the first non-Greek, non-Southern student body president, and I was the first one to have a woman, Naisha Cook, as my vice president. And so we made history, and I just got deeply immersed in that. I really saw that the university could be a place for transformation for our people and our community, and I really wanted to make that happen. I did everything I could from a student's perspective. I even lost sight of being a student for a while. So
got it.
Here's some feedback.
Yeah, I hear feedback as well. It's a little bit breaking this. I don't know if you have any headphones. You can drop them in, but I think you hit a couple of points. Let's just check out some of the comments. I think some of the comments are really awesome, and I want to make sure that we give some love to some of the folks. There's a lot. So one is that Daddy taught us, don't say everything we think. Yes.
Yeah. Think all you say, don't say all you think.
Right. Ashley Wells is living in Hawaii now. Was Ashley Wells in Hawaii when you told us that story?
I didn't know Ashley Wells at that time. I was in the Big Island. Okay. I was on the Big Island, living near Hilo.
Okay. Yeah. Fasting.
High school.
Pattyfoot, first floor. Michael Court. He's remembering some things. Yeah. He said it was a movement. I think it says you can't stop energy. And that one, let's want to relevate on that one for a second, because energy, once it's created, it's it never goes away.
That's right.
And so what many of us aren't told, especially just our culture doesn't have the exposure around these different, how to embrace these different types of energy so that it can work for us and through us, so that we're not doing it all on our own, right? Because when you feel like you're carrying it all at your own, and this gets into the next topic, at what cost? Life at what cost, right?
Mm.
And if you don't have any tools, you don't have any support, you're trying to do it all, and you're trying to do it all with just you. It's a almost a setting yourself up to lose, right? Either depression, mental health breakdown, physical breakdown, or unfortunately death. These things take us out, and so let's talk a little bit about that energy. I mean, you got people that's throwing stuff in, and just put them up there, babe, as you want to, as they come in. But let's talk about this energy, because something that you said that talked about transformation, and so
Mm-hmm.
you saw the people were struggling. You said you want to be a humanitarian. You've always known being an activist. So I hear a story around supporting others, right? And you've
Yeah.
always looked to supporting others. And so the supporting others come at a cost.
Yeah, it's a real cost. Particularly when you're in an environment where it's not understood. Like when you're bringing a vision that's different, so being at a university that was known for preparing people for corporate America, and here I am saying that's okay, but our real agenda needs to be preparing ourselves for our community, to feed our children, to build our institutions to be self-determinant, which is a different kind of conversation.
Right, right. So let me do this. You have another piece?
Yeah, can I just switch really quick, Mark?
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
to just
yeah.
make sure I'm
As a
plugged up
matter
here.
of fact, you inspired me with a piece, and so while you switching over, why don't I go ahead and have your way. A hard head makes a soft behind. A stubborn spirit is deaf and blind. A kind word turns away wrath. A double-minded person continues in the same path. A contrite heart pleads before God. A hardened heart makes heavy the road tried. See, I want my burdens to be light. I want my cares to be free. I want to do your will. I want to take heed. I want to let you have your way within and throughout my life today. That's that piece, and this reminds me of a scripture that says, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. That's James 1:22. And so we're talking tonight with Zaccai Free, FAMU SGA two-time president, artist, activist, humanitarian, social activist. Actually doesn't really fully describe him, because when you meet this brother, if you ever talk to this brother, you're probably going to do a couple of things. You're probably going to say, like, damn, that was deep. You're probably going to be like, wow, I didn't know he was that funny. Right? Man, he's a good guy. Right? Like, well, all those thoughts are going to come right through in the experience with you. And so I just want to get back to this thing around at what cost, right? And so the poem I talked about was doing what you're supposed, not just hearers of the word, but doers. So like being in action, because that's really what the call is to be in action. And so he said, my childhood friend always been deep and creative. That's Junior Wake Up.
This my man from Cribs. I mean, literally from babies. Me and Junior grew up together. Sylvester Washington Jr. That's my man.
Okay. All right. Thank you, M Love. We see you. And Ashley threw a question. I will come to that. Talk a bit about that, and then we'll come back to Ashley's question.
So that sacrifice piece is real. I mean, I could have just stayed just a wild college student, hanging out at the crib with the 151 crew. We had a pool at the house, Pool parties was jumping off all the time. I mean, it was lit, as they say now, right? Stuff was it was crazy. I mean, we was partying every day. I mean, and because I came from such a great prep school, fam wasn't really that difficult, so I was able to just do my work and stuff and just have a great time. But I knew there was something more. And once the magazine hit, like I was so popular, but I wasn't happy. I was empty. Like I was going out there and talking to people, and I'm giving this message, and I'm, people think I'm really cool. I'm on the set smoking blunts, and this is in 1993. Weed wasn't nowhere near no legal stuff, but we didn't care. We was doing whatever, and I just didn't have it. I would go home and cry at night. You know what I'm saying? I was depressed. I didn't know the term at that time, and I ran into Hana. I don't even know exactly how we met. It was some kind of thing about going to Africa or something. I knew I wanted to go. So I went to that. And a part of the preparation was getting us all on one accord. And to get us on one accord, we had to meditate together. And I had never really meditated before, but I took to it real naturally. And my father, being a pastor, people would say, oh, even now they say, well, yoga is the devil, all kind of stuff. My dad told me this. He said, if you encounter something that shakes your faith, you don't question the thing that you encountered. You question what you had faith in the first place.
Ooh.
And so that allowed me to move into these spaces without fear, because I had great faith in God. So I wasn't worried about anything happening on the negative side. I mean, I was already blacking out from drinking. So, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't go more negative than that, And so we started getting to meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, and my spirit started opening up. And then I was doing a work for the students by the free speech piece. But then it evolved from there through me becoming more spiritually awakened to start thinking about, okay, now what else can we do? And that's when the student government piece came in, and we brought in, I think, probably one of the most pivotal contributions to FAMU, which was the Black History Year lecture series, where we had speakers from, Cornell West. I mean, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, rest in peace, she's an ancestor. I say to her. I mean, so many people. Every month we had speakers, sometimes twice a month. Dr. Leola, he's an ancestor now. Nikki Giovanni. I mean, you name them. So we started bringing things and contributing in that way. Another piece, like I was saying, I never agreed with the town and gown concept, where you're in college and then the town is over there, and there's always this conflict. So college students would oftentimes have these programs where they would go out and work in the schools, but seldom did they have the children come onto the campus. So myself and one of my good brothers at the time, Jermaine Thompson, we started a program to have the young people. It was called Young and Striving. It was his program. I just worked with him to bring the kids onto the campus. Right. And we used basketball as a hook. And so they got a chance to have that college experience and be on the yard. And so we started doing things like that. And then, really being more responsive to the spiritual and emotional needs of students and intellectual, but not so much of the party and BS, because that was already covered. It's enough partying. I don't got no party. It's enough parties. But who's bringing in the things that are going to spark your creativity, spark your imagination, and maybe push you in a direction that you hadn't considered before.
So, you said a lot. And so thank you for that share. And I just think about, one of the things that drew me to you is, I came in 88. So I came in a couple of years before you. I mean, 87, I'm sorry, a couple of years before you. And FAMU was also, I think, kind of birthed a spirit of social activism in me. And so, I mean, I didn't sign no petitions at Gaither. I did learn how to get the hookup, though. So I never did wait in that line again, but I didn't help nobody else figure. Just our crew had that. And so that was really just self-supporting in that sense. But when the first Gulf War, I think that was 1990, and shout out to Sharon Letman Hicks. She pulled a group of us together. She said, hey, we could do something and have this be different. And I think, at least, I mean, when you're there, you like to always think that this was the first. So I don't know. I wasn't there. They could have been doing stuff before. It was the first, as I was aware of, right? Is that we organized the marches. About 2,500 to 3,000 students marched from FAMU down to the Capitol. And supposedly that was the first time anything like that had happened. And so that's what had me thinking around being out. And then, but what I didn't have was this platform, because I remember writing I wrote to Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1988, asking him to come to FAM, because I saw the complacency that not only that I was in, but that many of my brothers and sisters was in too. And I thought that he could come be a good inspiration, right? I never got a response from the letter, but somehow that's one of the few things that's made it through my records of all the moves. But I did have a platform. And so then what I admire is that, as the SGA president, then you say, how do I use this platform now to inspire others? And so before we jump into the next topic, let's hit them with another piece, brother. Let's share another piece.
Yeah, and Mark, because you're so prayerful and you're bringing out such spiritual stuff. I'm going to throw a little curveball here. I can be kind of irreverent. That's just in my nature. I just like to joke about things we're trying to take serious. So this is one of those more irreverent pieces.
Okay.
Jesus wrote on the wall, "Damn, these niggas can't read." Jesus fed thousands with a couple croakers, 1 trout, and a loaf of day-old Wonder Bread. The people asked for hot sauce. Jesus gave us blood. The people drank it like wine, too drunk to realize the sacrifice. The people wore the tools of his death as ornaments. Jesus came back. No one recognized him. He was cool with that.
That's that piece.
That's it.
Oh man, you guys, I spit out my tea, dude. These niggas can't read. These niggas ask for hot sauce. That's hilarious. I might have to get that a replay, man. Give me another. Give me that quick verse. The Jesus and the reading and the hot sauce again one more time, man.
I got you. Jesus fed thousands with a couple croakers, 1 trout, and a loaf of day-old Wonder Bread. The people asked for hot sauce.
The people asked for hot sauce. And man, and I love that, because it really speaks to what we're talking about in terms of serving others at what cost, right? And so at the cost of people being ungrateful, at the cost that you talked about, man, I got so caught up in the community, I almost didn't finish school.
I forgot to graduate, Mark. I forgot about it. I lost track.
Yeah.
I was supposed to graduate in 94.
Right.
But because of the transfer from SBI to being in the history department, I was going to graduate later on that semester. But then once I got into the student government, then that was a whole year. And then it was going so good and the momentum was so great. And we were making such incredible moves as far as the campus consciousness was going. I mean, we had unity amongst the football team, all the athletes, the Greeks. Some of them didn't really like me because I just wasn't on that page. But for the most part, we all came together. The studious people, we were all starting to learn about ourselves. And I didn't want to stop and give that up. And I forgot about, like, there was a real world. My only world was FAM. Yeah. And the sacrifices, like, again, the fasting, the being a vegan, the being a live food person, the women. I was celibate. For over a year. So
in college?
Popularity when I was student body president.
Oh, wow.
When I had all the women that was around me and was, whatever I could have wanted was there. As Hana said, I stayed focused and I didn't, and that gave me the energy that I needed. But again, that was a big sacrifice. And then finally, this is really kind of emotional for me. The way things went down at the end, I really lost some of my ability to be open. I shut down and I lost friends and I went into a real kind of trauma space. And literally really as of yesterday, I had a real healing moment yesterday. One of the brothers, Jason Henderson, called me and talked to me and uplifted me. And I was able to release some of that pain that I went through taking those shots from the administration. The students would always boost me up, but the administration was trying to shoot me every chance they got.
Yeah, no coincidences. And that you got that call yesterday before we were gonna come in. We did our pre-show, and so we talked about what we might talk about. And I don't know if any of this was in what we talked about. So, right, because who knew, right? Because I mean, that depression, that healing, that isolation. Um, and the carrying that. I mean, you're talking about 96, right? 95, 96 to now it's 2020. So that's at least 20 years. I think if the math is right, it's 24.
That's right.
Yeah. Years of carrying that and what that does to your mental, your emotional, and then even your physical, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to show up, but I'm showing up. It's only half me. So
Showing
how
up
can I
broken.
show up in my relationship? How can I show up at work? How can I show up as dad when I'm still thinking about all of this stuff? Because I'm carrying that because, like, I can't trust people.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Can't trust them. And you're gonna lose them. They're gonna fall off. Things are gonna happen. And what happens to everybody? I mean, literally going from 10,000 people knowing who you are to where'd everybody go?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some journeys in my life, man, and it looks nothing like I thought it was when I was on the yard, right? I thought by now, man, I'd be coasting, I'd have it all figured out. And I tell you, I am still, even today, figuring it out. However, the difference is I am okay with that, right? I am okay with continuing to move forward. So how do you continue to use your voice when your throat has been crushed? So I think that's an awesome topic. That's an awesome question. Thank you. Thank you for the user. Somebody says it's not fair for leaders, but that's what you got to do. You got to take shots. And so here's what I would say. I got a thought on that, but I'm not the guest. Let's talk to you. How do you continue to use your voice when your throat has been crushed?
I learned a great lesson from my guru, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, in '96.
I love Sri Sri. Yeah.
Yeah, I took the Art of Living course in 1996, and that gave me some more tools to release that trauma. And one of the things that he always says is just show up. If you show up, then God's got all the rest of it. So your voice may not be as loud at different times. If your windpipe's getting crushed, you may not have a big, loud voice, but you keep showing up and you'll regain and go even further than where you were at whatever point, And also, it's just really about tuning into yourself and accepting yourself where you are. Like I used to write so much, like every day I'd get up and write probably 4 or 5 pages in the morning. And then I would carry a notebook everywhere I went. I mean, I've got journals upon journals upon journals, but I'm not in that space anymore. And I can't bemoan the fact that I'm not doing that same thing. I have to be good with where I'm at right now. And whatever voice that I have, whatever experience I can speak to, use that. And I don't necessarily I have a big audience. I may have just the one young brother who I just saw outside, and I'm like, what are you doing with your life? And we have a conversation. I see you graduated in 2018. You got a t-shirt on. What are you doing? And that connection is as important and is as powerful as the person who's going to be debating tonight on that stage talking about they trying to be the president.
Yeah. And so that's a perfect segue because we talked about college and the difference you made at college. Then you took a trip to Belize, but you came back from Belize. You didn't stay over there. You came back here to the States. You did some stuff in DC. Now you're doing some stuff in New Orleans. So tell us, what are you up to now? Right? What are you up to now? Including, being a father and 3 kids. What are you up to now?
So I'm fully immersed in being a family man and a husband to my awesome wife. She is incredible. Ananda, this is some of her artwork hanging behind us. She does everything. She's a writer. She's a visual artist, just so creative and just a wonderful spiritual person. And so she and I came together about 10 years ago. And, I didn't think I was going to have a relationship, Mark. I had no plans on being married or having children. I thought those things had gone by. My time was past. Right. But God had a different plan. And so, it's really like a renewal because my kids are very young. I got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So I'm able to allow my inner child to continue to live so I can continue to have fun with them. And we're focused on Black economics. we're focused on building our business. WeirdWonders.fun. It's a toy company. We have a children's book out right now called Yay Sweetwaters and the Mean Mermaids, and we have plush toys that go along with the book.
Mm-hmm.
And Black economics, staying spiritually grounded. I'm a priest in Ifa tradition, still a meditator, and just loving life, and seeing how I can contribute. But I have learned that having a business foundation is important because you have more freedom when you have your economics flowing properly.
Okay.
So that was a big lesson for me, and I'm embracing it wholeheartedly. And the future is bright.
So that's beautiful, man. A father, a husband, into expanding the economic platform, not only for yourself but for others. So with that being said, we know the wife has a lot of stuff going on as well. But I want to play a little clip, if that's okay. That because you said weird, and people might be wondering, what is this weird? What is he talking about? And so this is a clip. I'll play a few seconds of it.
Hey, come on. I'm not ready. Let's go, baby. We don't have a lot of time. You messing around. I'm Zaccai Free. This is Ananda Free.
I'm Ananda Free, also known as A Free Designs.
Right. And we're here representing Sweet Weirdness.
Yes.
And we want to say hi to all the sweet weirdos out there.
Peace.
And if you don't know who that is or what that is, we're going to introduce the concept to you now.
Or talk about us as sweet weirdos.
Okay. So when did you first know that you were a sweet weirdo?
So I love that. I didn't know where that was going, to be honest. I didn't know where you was going with that sweet weirdness. But sweet weirdness, because you talked a little bit about the company. And so just tell us a little bit more around sweet weirdness, because that's kind of where you are now. That's the movement right now, right?
So we have two companies. Sweet Weirdness is home decor and textiles. So we have that still available, sweetweirdness.com. You can go up there and get some of this beautiful artwork my wife makes. We do pillows, tapestries like this. It's a wide range of great products to give that vibe in your space. But we shifted a lot of our focus now into Weird Wonders, and weird is spelled W-Y-R-D. That's from the Old English, the original spelling of the word, which talks about being unique and how your unique self leads to your destiny. How kind of uncharted interactions guided by the divine bring you to where you need to be when you're being true. That's what weird means. So Weird Wonders is about uplifting the imagination and the innocence of our children and protecting them and our inner child,
Yeah.
That's what we're focused on. We want to celebrate that. We know that in the Black and brown community, too much our children are forced to go into kind of adult kind of thinking situations, too much responsibility too early, and we lose a lot of the joy that's inherent in life. And we want to keep that sparked, and we want to provide people with products and experiences that keep that that joyful, fun, playful energy going.
So speaking of that spark, let me put on just a brief piece from that clip with this beautiful interaction
That I've ever met that you come in contact with is like, Zaccai Free is heart-centered, loving, creative, also rebellious, right? So
Sometimes
I think there's
barefoot.
Yeah, but I'm not just like talking about you, but I'm also speaking about being a sweet weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet weirdo.
I mean, y'all got me, man. You got me all the way in with the weird and the description of what it means in the Old English. Before we move on, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. I mean, this Hana is going way back on you, man. Some stuff I don't even know what it means, but I'm sure you do.
She got all the receipts.
She got all the receipts. We done went past them, man. But they were saying some stuff. I don't know. 358 Irish moss, seaweed. I know it means something to you. Somebody says yes, Zaccai, yes. Brian, what's up, Rock Shot? Our brother D Clan Sharp, DJ C Sharp. He's on Twitch. If y'all haven't checked him out, check him out on Twitch, man. Him and his wife actually do an awesome show called The Basement. I meant to give him a plug last time. On Sunday nights, his wife is moderates. He plays music, and and like I say, on Twitch you can have fun. So you can get them to tell a story. You can do all sorts of things. And he plays some good music. I think it's something that's really nice. Twitch, check out DJ C Sharp. Sweet Weirdo. So let's talk about Sweet Weirdos a little bit. Weird Wonders. Weird. People seem to like that word there. Yes. So yes, evening fam, evening all those rock shot. What's up, brother? We see you, Rondell, another fam Ewan. So when did it become cool to be weird?
Good question. I think some people would say the nerds are winning, right? With all the tech stuff, but I think it's always been cool to be weird. It's always been cool to be yourself. I learned that at FAM, like the people who tried too hard to fit in, they never fit in anywhere. People kind of accepted them, but they didn't really, it was a strange thing. But if you were yourself, you had your own identity, then, folks would gravitate to you. You get your little group together or whatever it was. So, I've always found benefit in being authentic. And, and at times, some people didn't take it the right way or it rubbed them the wrong way. Like I gave an example of SBI. They didn't like my authenticity. It wasn't the place to be authentic, but that was okay. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be true to yourself, sometimes you have to separate yourself from those who may not understand. I think now, Mark, today, this time period we're in right now, there's no better time to be weird. All these different platforms are here, and many of us around the world kind of stuck in our homes. We're trying to find a way to communicate and collaborate, and having your unique voice is what's going to cut through all of the chatter. So embrace your inner self, and sometimes you got to take a time to step back and learn who you are before you can be authentic. You got to tap in and see who you really are, because you may have been faking all along and didn't even know it.
That authentic self, the journey to authentic self, that should be a book, and it is a journey, right? Because the whole process of stopping to look to see what self is showing up. All right. And that could be different, or at least for me, on any given day. Let me give a couple shout outs. Thanks for the cheers, for the bits, DJ C Sharp on Twitch. The crack ones let the lights in. Absolutely. And so we really appreciate the support. Let me just tell folks, all verse Thursdays, we're sharing verses and discussing purpose. My man Zaccai Free, FAMU, SGA president 2 times. Obviously not right now. Back in 1994 and 1995, author, humanitarian. We found out comedian, right? Social activist, father of 3. His company, Weird Wonders, Sweet Weirdness. They're talking about. They're bringing art and encouraging the discussion around message and your journey to authentic self. And so we're getting close to the close of the show, Zaccai. And so I want to give you an opportunity to talk about any upcoming projects or plug any projects that you may have. I'll share with the folks your website, Sweet Weirdness, Weird Wonders and Toys. Which one?
Weirdwonders.fun.
Weirdwonders.fun. So let's share that. Give me 1 second to get that Weird Wonders up. We could just see it on the side while we've got it. Great, 2 of us there, and so I'll just click through a little bit on it.
Well, you can see there we got the brown mermaids, the black mermaids. One of the things is, as African people or human beings, we got to reclaim our truths. So people think about mermaids, they think about some blonde, real skinny looking creature coming out of the water. But mermaids are part of our cosmology. That comes from our African tradition, from the Dogon people, the Yoruba tradition, all throughout Africa, all throughout that continent. There's stories of amphibious beings. And so we want to uplift that and not allow others to steal our essence, and profit from it. So this is a great story my wife wrote, Yeye Sweetwaters and Me Mermaids. It's all about how community can function and support those who may be cast aside or being put down in various ways. How can we lovingly bring people back into the fold, even those who we may see as being bad actors? How do we bring them back in? Because we don't want to ostracize anybody from our village. you know, how do we get them back into the space? So we really think of it as a community book. So, you know, it's for reading with your family, it's reading with your children, sharing in community groups. It's a great a tool and a jewel. And then we also have the plush toys, as Mark was showing, the mermaids, which are really awesome. If you could pass me one so I can show it up here. You know, they feel good. It's like you need a hug. You can hug Yay. You know, she'll hug you back. We're just really excited. My wife, she wasn't able to get on the stream for whatever reason, but she can come in here in the camera and say, but this is Yay Sweetwaters. She's ready to come home with you. So you can go on our website and pick one up, and you know, it's beautiful, well crafted. And
hold that up to the camera for a second so people can see it. And that's really intricately made. So you can buy that. How can people get it?
Yeah, just go to the website, weirdwonders.fun, and everything is right there. Very simple process. You can buy one or more. You know what I'm saying? If you're part of an organization and you want to do a wholesale thing, just email us through the website and we can have a conversation.
I think Christmas presents, those would be some awesome Christmas presents, especially for our children of color. I've never seen anything quite like that, to be honest. I think it's just intricately made. Yeah, there's the website going across the bottom. Go ahead. Yeah.
I had a chance to go to Haiti after the earthquake. I guess that was 2005, I think it was. And I met a brother named Eves, and we've been friends ever since. And I showed him the mermaid, and he almost started crying. He said, man, I'm 30. I think he said 33, 34, how old he is. He said, I've never even imagined a mermaid having black skin.
I want to get one. How much does it cost?
These are $34.99.
And it looks like it's pretty big too. It's a nice.
Oh nice... yeah, it's a substantial size here.
Yeah. So yeah, y'all. Let me put that website back up so y'all can see. This is in the book. You can also get the book, Yay Sweetwaters and the Mermaids. That's actually Yay that he's holding up. Do you have other mermaids that they can buy as well, or only Yay?
Yeah, the second one is her name is Juniper. She's called Omitola in the book. Omiboye in the book.
That's Omiboye right there, right?
Yeah, no, this is Yay, and Omiboye is coming up. She's more dark.
Right there. That's Omiboye.
Yes, that's her. Yeah. She's on pre-order right now for delivery in mid-December. Okay. And here's how she looks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's a little more chocolate.
Yeah, I love it.
Kind of plump, you know, because we got, you know, look, our folks come in all different sizes. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Hold them up next to each other so folks can see them. That's a little bit better even than the website. So somebody clip that on the Twitch. Clip that. Get these for the kids for Christmas, right? And so, Zaccai, I want to say thank you.
If you buy two, you get a lower price. So go on the website, you'll see.
Okay. Somebody Ashley Wells says I need a few. You say you want to take some to Peru. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Maybe bring some to Peru or bring some to Peru. I guess that you're getting ready to go to Peru.
She is. She's got a trip that she's organizing for Peru. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to say thank you, man. This is All Verse Thursdays, where we share verse and purpose. We bring artists, hot artists that bring their verses, and you know, verse goes back over time. It was a sacred role in the community and the tribe to be able to be the person to tell the story, and they use it with rhythm and rhyme to usually share a story. And some of the great sacred texts are verses that were shared in poetic forms. And so we bring the verse to you, whatever it is. And we had Zaccai Free, humanitarian artist, his lovely wife Ananda was there in spirit and in energy. I feel her. We got a chance to see a little bit of her on the video. Yay Sweetwaters, you see the mermaids. But what I want to do, Zaccai, I want to end on something. And you know, before we jumped off, you talked about an impromptu piece, right? And I don't know if you're feeling it. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything else you want to share?
No, I'm ready whenever you are. I feel great.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. For while we're getting ready for this, if those that we want to send blessings of oneness and love to anybody, put their name in the chat. Blessings of oneness and love, and we'll just close with that. But before we do that, just type the name in the chat. Anybody who want to send a blessing of oneness and love or joy, put their name in the chat. We're going to do that. But here's how I think we're going to do this. You know, so this is an impromptu piece. I don't even know what the topic is. I'm going to follow my man Zaccai. You do a verse, pass it off. I'll do a verse, pass it back to you, and then we'll come back to me and we'll close it. So we'll note at the end of the verse, you'll say that's that piece. And then I'll jump in and I'll say that's that piece when it's time for you to come back. And we'll do 2 or 3 verses, however it goes.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Touch not mine anointed here in the land where the best choir director was sent to do his sentence. Please don't get lost in the beats and rhymes, but recognize that the time is always now to be new, fresh, and you. That's that verse.
As I listen to my man, Zaccai Free, and I think about, oh, what does it mean to be me? I hear the kids playing in the background, and I hear that joyous, that loving, that ooh-ah sound. And it makes me just want to say that, man, it's great to be loved in a special way. And we hope that as you hear our voices on this show, we want that everybody to know that you are loved. That's that piece.
Loving you in a special way. Like no one can. You have to remember who you are. 'Cause when I love me, I can love you. Let's come together in oneness and not be lost in the madness. Because Jah blessed us to progress. Let's not regress into this Babylon mess. It's time to free up from the stress. That's that verse.
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. Man, I wish they would say that to me. I wish they would just see who I be. I wish they would know the pain and the stress. I wish I didn't have to go through all this mess. I wish that you would love me in a special way. What more can I say? Love me now. That's that piece, y'all. All verse Thursdays. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, right on time. Love it, love it.
That was hot. That was hot.
Beautiful.
Hey, thank you once again, Zaccai Free. Thank you, Ananda Free. Thank you. All verse Thursdays. Next we got coming up 2 Sundays from now, a Sunday and a half on November 1st. Next Sacred Space Sunday at 11 a.m. right here on the same live stream. Next week at 8 p.m. The next show we have another Fam Ewing, Felicia Studstill, who's also an artist who recently has some books out. And we have a filmmaker, Heather Buchanan from the Motor City that'll be joining us for the show. And so we're going to keep bringing you. We got something every week, really exciting. Thanks again, Zaccai Free. Blessings of oneness, joy, and love. Peace to everyone.
Love.